Today, I have a special topic. We are talking about marketing plans. What type of marketing are you going to do for your book? This is April Cox from Self-Publishing Made Simple, where we help authors go through the A to Z of self-publishing and everything afterwards. So we have Melanie Johnson with us today. Melanie has a background in media, marketing, and public relations and advertising. She started her career as a news anchor in Detroit. She is a Wall Street Journal, USA Today bestselling author and 15 times Amazon bestseller. She is the CEO and co-owner of Elite Online Publishing, where they publish, market, and promote nonfiction books for business owners and athletes to create authority, status for marketing, and influence. So join me in welcoming Melanie Johnson. Thank you so much, Melanie, for joining us.
Hey, my pleasure. So glad to be here with this group of awesome children's book authors. So let me ask you, do we have any number one bestsellers in the audience today? Would any of you like to be a best-selling author? Well, let's talk about that in the first. So the thing is, people can't get your book or want to tell other people about your book if they can't find your book, right? So you can't be in obscurity. The thing is, if you just put your book out there and then hope it sells, there are millions and millions of books on Amazon, tens of thousands being uploaded every day. So you need something to make your book different to get it up into the atmosphere so everyone can take note of it. So let's start with that. One of our strategies is to make sure you're in as many categories as possible. I'm sure all of you have a beautiful cover because you've worked with April. So in April, I think tells you to make sure you have the right keywords and you're doing the right category. So a lot of times, one of our secret sauces when we work with our clients is to get them into up to 13 categories. Now, when you go and upload your book yourself, Amazon's saying you get to pick from 2 categories, right? Hey, you get 2 categories. So what you need to do is contact Amazon afterwards and say, hey, we've selected all these other categories that we would like to be in. And really, it's just getting that relationship with Amazon. We're working with an author doing a bestseller campaign for her, and she's with McGraw-Hill, which you may be familiar with them. They're a traditional publishing house. And they told us, oh no, we can't do more than the 2 categories because Amazon won't do that for us. But basically what she's saying is they don't ask. So, you know, the proverb in the Bible, if you don't ask, you don't receive. So ask and you shall receive. So you want to make sure you can get in as many categories as possible. And some people say, well, is it really important to be a bestseller? Why should I be a bestseller? Like, does it really matter? Actually, it really does. One of the main reasons is you get that title for the rest of your life. It's like if you're a Super Bowl champ and you get the ring, the team that was in second place doesn't get anything. You know, the girl who wins Miss America or Miss USA, she gets to win all the prizes. The first runner-up, not so much, right? And she gets to say that she won the whole time. So when you get to say that you're a bestseller, and then that helps the momentum even for a second, third, fourth book. And you get to have that title on everything you do on social media. So that's one of the reasons it's important. So here's some tricks that we do to make you a bestseller, because I figured you might want to know that. So what we do for our authors, again, you want to have those keywords, right? Do your research on keywords, and you want to be in as many categories as you possibly can. Now, part of the category secret sauce is pick categories that aren't super hard to be number one in. You want them to be appropriate for your book, right? You don't want to be a needlepoint, right? Or hardware or electric design, right? You want to be what's appropriate for your book. So the categories that have the least resistance to get into number one, right? So that means you don't have to do 10,000 book sales in 24 hours to hit number one. You don't want to be in competition with Harry Potter. So you want to pick something that maybe is 50 books, 100 books, 200 books, right? So you have to sell that many books within 24 hours. Or 48. We try and do it within 24 hours. So what we do is we do a promotion on the ebook for 99 cents, and we run that promotion for 24 or 48 hours, depending how long it takes us to read our objective. And then we try and get as many sales as possible during that time period. And what that does is it spikes, it's like spiking the ball. It's like getting a touchdown on the first play. You get the maneuvers, you get the ball, and then you're running, and all the tacklers go behind you and you're scoring. So that's the objective, is to get you there. And then once you get there, then you've got momentum. People are seeing you. Amazon's going, hey, this book is doing something. We should pay attention to it. Let's give it more attention and promote it to some of our email list, right? If you're just out there and you're, ranking 4 million, Amazon's not paying attention from you. You're starting at the bottom of the pool, trying to crawl your way up and claw your way up that chain versus, so if I use the football analogy, it's like they just did a kickoff to you on the first play and you got tackled on the 1 yard line. So you don't want to get tackled on the first yard line. You want to be able to have all the advantages to score on that first play if you can, and then keep you on that 20-yard line so you can keep scoring over and over again.
So you make this, Melanie, you make this part of your marketing plan and marketing strategy to ensure that you have an opportunity and a strategy to hit that number one bestseller.
Yes, we do that for all of our authors. We guarantee that they'll hit number one bestseller on Amazon. We also have a Wall Street Journal USA Today program that we guarantee you'll make that list. And we do that because we just feel it gives the author the best start and the best chance when we work with them. So that's what we do. When you work with a good, reputable publisher, they should be able to guarantee that if they know what they're doing, right? So we've done that for every author since the first author we ever published. That's why we feel really confident that we can do it, because we've published over 200 authors now, and we've done it for every single one doing that.
Edie posted a comment saying, why 99 cents and not doing free ebook giveaways?
If you're talking about like Kindle Select, the thing with Kindle Select is then you are limited to only sell on Amazon during that time. And I think it's 90 days they have you locked up. So you can put it there after you run the campaign, but not before, because you can put it there anytime you want. So run the campaign beforehand and it gives people momentum. And the 99 cents really is just, it's $1. So it's a no-brainer. The last children's book author we did, we had to sell it for $2.99 because of the illustrations were so heavy in the count, the DPI, but we were still successful even at that price range.
So today we're going to be talking about having a well thought out marketing plan. So could you just kind of back up and talk a little bit about what is a marketing plan and why do you need one as a children's book author? So
as a children's book author, or any author for that matter, I really love it if an author starts even why they're doing their book, right? Before the book is even in print, you should be thinking about who you can contact. You're creating this plan simultaneously as you're creating the book. So you're thinking about your target audience. Who is your book for? Because every children's book is different. One might be more for boys. One might be more for girls. One might be targeting a certain demographic. One might be targeting a certain topic that they're really wanting to get. It might be something, maybe it's child abuse and they want children to know about that. So you're targeting those groups. That's who your book is about. Or it's just a fun little story, right? But it teaches a life lesson. So you want to think when you're writing the book from the beginning, who could I sell this book to outside of children? The individual book sale, because you can sell one book at a time, but who are the larger groups that would be interested in buying your book? So it's important to have a plan before you start and know who you're targeting from. The other reason it's really important to have a plan is we like to have a call to action in a book. So even in your children's book, there should be a call to action. And what is that? Well, when people buy a book on Amazon, you don't know who bought your book, right? But if you have a call to action of something that maybe you're going to give to them for free, that they can go on your website and they can opt in where they give their name and their email and they get this wonderful free thing. Now, I'm not talking about a physical thing because we want it to be easy. Maybe it's a video of you reading the book to the children. The author is reading the book personally to the children. Maybe it's an extra character development. Maybe it's some illustrations that weren't in the book that didn't make the book that they're getting from there. But there's something that you give them as an extra bonus. And then that's growing your list. And you want to grow your list so you can market more things to them and market more books in the long run. Remember, the power is in the list, and keep reminding people. So again, if you're in obscurity, they can't find you. So I want to talk about social media a little bit. When we launch an author, we create or optimize our social media plan. So if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, those are the places. So if you're targeting parents, you might think, well, LinkedIn might not be a place for me, but there might be parent groups on LinkedIn that you can target if it's a certain type demographic. Pinterest is another great place. All of you should have a post on Pinterest about your book, and it'll take you right over. They click on it, it'll take it over to Amazon. Here's another great thing. How many of you have a link to buy your book at the bottom of your email signature? all of you should create a link. It should have the name of your book. So it's a short link. It's not the really long link you get from Amazon. And so when you put your email, like sincerely or regards with your name underneath there should have the link to your book. I have links to my book, but I also have the link to my TED Talk. And I can't tell you, I would say 6 out of 10 people that I send an email to for the first time look at my TED Talk. They're like, oh, I pulled up your TED Talk. The only way they would do that is because they saw it in my email link. And that's going to be the same with your book. You're sending it out to people. They're going to see that. They're going to wonder about it and they're going to click on it because you can say, buy my book and put the link right there.
So part of the marketing plan was to understand your target audience and have a strategy on how best to reach them. You said social media plan. What else goes into the marketing plan? What should we be considering?
So I want you to consider also putting yourself out there in the social media plan. People love to know about the author. People want to know the background story. Some people are afraid. I have a children's book author that's very shy. She doesn't want to be on camera at all. So she's done things. Hers is about her dog, Hap. And so she does videos with her dog, Hap, who is the character of the story, who's a real life dog. And she does different posts with the dog and she just talks in the background of the video. So there's a variety of different ways that you can do that, but to be active on social media. So what's the definition of active? So minimum, you all should be posting 3 to 5 times a week on your social media. So you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do that. That's really hard. So I want you to think about repurposing. So you can create a social media post, but then you can use it in a variety of different places. So create it once, but post it everywhere. And there's software called Hootsuite. You could make a bunch of posts all at once, a bunch of videos at once, a bunch of photos all at once, put them on there. And it's like creating a calendar and then it'll post it whenever you want it. So then you're not like, I got to do this every day. Oh my gosh. So you could spend a few hours creating a bunch of things and then put it on Hootsuite and then just set the calendar and let it post. We do social media for our clients. We charge $550 a month and then we post for them on a regular basis so they don't have to think about it. But again, if you're not out there and you're not active and they can't find you, and they say, well, a lot of times social media posts aren't really effective. That may or may not be true. But the thing is, we want our authors to start creating a footprint, create that online footprint. And remember, the majority of books today are bought online, not in the brick and mortar stores. So you want to have this online footprint with your book. Okay. So the reading room, another great thing for you to do, we briefly kind of touched on this, is what I call a reading room. And you can announce this on social media. And depending if your book is a short children's book, you could read the whole thing. If it's a chapter book, you could read one chapter at a time and then go into why, kind of the backstory. Like you may read a page of their book and say, when I wrote this, or I remember thinking about this, like give them a little bit of extra background when you're talking about each page that you're reading about, if it's just a 20 or 30 page children's book. But it's a reading room where they can engage with you. You can do it live where you can answer questions for children. You can invite people to that. The other thing I'm going to encourage you to do is we talked about the target audience. So the target audience, when you go into your social media, I want you to look up groups on Facebook. They have groups on Facebook that you can connect with that have a similar interest to your book. So you can get like a homeschool group. Homeschool groups are great because they're looking for great books. They're looking for great material, right? Private schools, church groups, they're all looking for books. So now I'm going to stretch your brain a little bit and say, who would buy 50 or 100 of my books at one time? Is there someone or a group or a company that would love my book to give away to all their employees, to give away to their group of women? Maybe it's a group of working women. We have nonfiction books that we deal with too, and they're looking at different corporate people to do this. We have people that are looking with, geez, in my book, we talk about cooking a lot, kids cooking and what a mess they made and they cleaned it up with the cooking. And so maybe if it's about cleaning up after yourself, the book is about children being responsible and cleaning up for themselves. Maybe they tie in with a cleaning product, and the cleaning product like Windex or Clorox wipes wants to buy a bunch of books to give away with their product and do some kind of promotion. So I want you to think outside the box instead of selling the one book at a time. Who are people that would want my book that would buy 50, 100, 1,000 books? All right. So start thinking about that. Bulk buying is a big deal. And then I want you to think about, we've had COVID for so long. Another marketing plan is doing things offline. There's all the online marketing, right? Which is your social media, which is connecting to different groups, putting it in your email link, having it in your email signature, all of that kind of stuff. But then there's offline marketing. So offline marketing is, we have great farmers markets here, and you can have a booth that you can sign there. I don't know if any of you have Kroger supermarkets where you live, but Kroger has a plan that they'll let authors come in and do book signings right in the opening of the store. And then you split the proceeds with Kroger. Again, I don't know what the restrictions have been since COVID about authors coming into signing books, but you can ask a local grocery store. Our authors have gone into the grocery stores and said, hey, this is my book. I'm a local author. Will you carry it on your shelves? And he has 4 different stores, and they all said yes. So if they like it, then they would order more books, but give them a couple just to try. Then let's talk about giving away books. That's also another offline strategy. We always say when you give away a book, usually you're going to get someone to buy 2 or 3 afterwards. We gave away an elf journal for Elf on the Shelf. We created this little journal, and we gave a bunch to classrooms at a private school, and our sales spiked right after that, because all the kids were talking about it. We just did one age group, like the 3rd graders. So then all the 2nd graders want to know, well, how did you get that? And the 1st graders want to know, how did you get that book? Because they were all walking around with it in class. And when schools open, they invite authors to come in and do reading for their classrooms or their schools. And a lot of times the library will buy the book too there. And sometimes it used to be, again, this is pre-COVID, that they even pay authors to come in and speak and read from their books. So that's another offline option. Let's talk about what goes on your Amazon author page. This is just one of our authors' author pages. This is a children's book. I picked this specifically because it was a children's book. So you can see she's got some pictures there. She's got a video of the character, right? And you can have videos here. And she's not a social media person. But here you can have 8 videos and 8 photographs here. And you can have all your social media links there. So what we like to see is have a couple testimonial videos of children talking about your book, or a parent talking about your book goes there. Now, this Amazon author page, as April tells you, it shows up on the first page of search, usually for the name of your book or the author's name. Have extra maybe illustrations that you didn't use that weren't in the book that you may have extra. Photographs of you, other 3D images of the book. The 3D images you saw there of the book we created for our author. So we call it using all the real estate. So you want to make sure you use all the real estate you can that Amazon gives you there. And if you write a blog for your book, you can connect the RSS feed there too.
I like that, because then every update you make, it's always keeping that fresh, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm. And then if you want to send somebody information about you and your book, you're like, oh man, they want a picture of me. They want a bio on me. They want, a video. You just send them to your Amazon author page, and they can even buy the book right from there.
Valerie's asking, where would you put a call to action? Is it the back of the book? Is it a dedication page?
Great question. So we like to put it in the very front of the book. And the reason why is because when you open the ebook version of the book, the link that you put there is live. So when someone's previewing the book, they can click on that link before they've even bought the book, and they can opt in to your list. The secret smart way to do it is put it in the front of the book, and you can always add a reminder again in the back of the book.
Pat has a question about Pinterest. She has a Pinterest account, but wants to know, what would you post on Pinterest? A book cover, a blurb, any suggestions?
Yeah, I would do a beautiful graphic of the book with some compelling language on there of, what makes the book, like maybe it's from your book description, a line from your book description, but always think about it. What's in it for the reader? Like, why do they want to read it? What's the benefit from them?
What discount should we make to groups for those that are going to purchase in bulk?
So let's say your hardback book is $20 and it's going to cost you $5 to print. Then you can offer them anywhere from 30 to 50% off. And then they pay for the shipping. And you should also have a bulk buy button on your landing page or website for your book. Right. So then it's already an option there that they can fill out a form to bulk buy from you. And then all of you know, I'm sure you know how to go into your account and you can order those books yourself. We have a concierge service we do for our authors. Some authors use it because they don't want to be bothered with that. And they just send us the information, and then we do the bulk buy and send it right to wherever they need it. But you can just go in there, go to your KDP account or Ingram account, and order the books and have them shipped right to the person who bought the bulk order.
Marina's asking, how would you approach groups and discuss or pitch them on the bulk ordering?
So we had an author we're working with right now. She is the skinny gourmet and she does prepping food ahead of time. And she uses the Instapot for a lot of her recipes. So she just found an email for their HR department and reached out to Instapot and started the conversation that I'm having a new book and I reference Instapot a lot in it. And I think it would be a great partnership with us. Who do you think I should talk to? Her book is in progress. So her next step is she's going to be sending them like a first chapter once she has that final draft done of the first chapter. So it's really just starting that conversation and finding the right person you need to talk to. I think the HR department's good. Sometimes if they have an advertising department, so it may take a couple emails to find the right person.
If you were to approach an influencer, my book is kind of more about like inspirational stuff. And you were to approach someone like that, like a Brene Brown or Deepak Chopra or something. I mean, obviously they're very big, but people who kind of do the same that are not quite that famous. Would you say, hey, your audience might like my children's book, and then offer them, like what you said, a partnership? How much money would you offer them?
So my experience with influencers are usually to promote your book, they're going to want money. Not all influencers do this, but they'll, you pay them and they post it on their Instagram. It's so much for a post on the Instagram. Some of them do that. Some do not. I don't know if Brene Brown is one that posts that, or if you want an editorial review, might be the way to go is you send your book. And I would love to get an editorial review from you if you like my book. So like if you're going to sell the book is $20, you're going to give them $10 for every book that's sold. So that's one of the things that I think authors think. They think like, oh, but it's going to cost me $50 and I didn't do it. And I'm only going to make $5 on my hello. My son has Instagrams that he sells ads on. And some of the ads are, $1,000, $2,000 for ads, right? But they're trying to reach a bigger audience. Here's a thing that I want you to do. And we tell our nonfiction authors to do this. We tell our fiction authors to do this. I want you to make a list of 20 people that you are going to send your book to with a note. I want it to be a physical book, right? Let's say it's going to cost you, if it's a paperback book, it's going to cost you maybe $5 with shipping and everything, right? If it's a hardback, maybe it's going to cost $10 or $15. But I want you to send it to people that you think would want to share your book, would love your book, and have some sort of influence, right? It might be people you already know. There might be people you don't know. But I want you to write down 20 names, and your challenge is to send your book to 20 people this month. So I don't know if all of you have books already sitting there, like you have some backstock of books. So you should have your names written. You should be able to do this. If you set a timer for probably 15 minutes, you could come up with 20 names.
What is the best protocol whenever you don't yet have a physical product? Like with Kickstarter, the idea, of course, is that getting the kind of like buzz going so that you get the funding to print your book, that kind of thing.
Right.
What's your advice before you have a physical product? What's the best way to kind of get the word out there, get people to kind of feel good about sharing your mission, even before you have a physical product?
If you just have the idea and you don't even have a cover, right? There's not a cover of your book or anything yet. So it all comes down to story, right? Your story. The purpose of the book, the reason of the book, the backstory to the whole thing. People connect with story. So it starts about you or your character of the book, their story, the backstory of that character that you're creating. So that's what people are going to connect with, and the mission and purpose of the book, how you think it's going to change the world or make somebody's life better. That's what people are going to connect with. So the more you share that and tell that, and again, put it in multiple places, that's what's going to generate the interest.
What if your story has absolutely nothing to do with book? Just book is completely unrelated to you.
That's okay, because they still want to know about the author, right? That's why they always have about the author page, even in Amazon, is to tell your story. And they want to know why you wrote the book. It just fell on the page. It came to my heart and I knew I just had to tell the story. I knew that it was important to someone. I knew that it was going to change somebody's life. And even if it just changed one person's life, I knew I had to write this story. And then as you're talking about that and saying it, it starts to come to mind that if you're not sure why you wrote it, then I would say, get with a family member, a friend, and have them ask you questions. Why'd you write the book? Tell me about that character. Well, why did you write the character like that? Why did they do that? How do you think that's going to change somebody's life? What kind of difference do you think it's going to make? Sometimes it's hard for your book to be out there without you being out there. That's what I would tell you. Again, with the book that I shared with you, Cynthia Gill's book, I don't want to be out there. So actually her character is out there. So we've pushed her character forward, but we still tell a little bit about her and her story so people know who she is. But the predominant push on her social media and everything is about the character in the book.
A lot of the things you were sharing, really, we teach in the 12-week group and we put together in a press kit. So do you recommend that the authors you work with create a press kit and use that to get their name out there? Because it's, about the author, it's what's important about the book, it's important pictures and pieces of your cover and maybe interior illustrations.
Yeah, that's a great thing to have together. We call it either a media kit or a press kit where it has the things that April teaches. That's a great thing to send for those bulk buyers and those companies because it's a one sheet and it has all the information right there on it.
Yeah.
So yes, you should definitely have something like that because it's an easy thing. And once it's put together, you can use it for multiple purposes. You also talking about press. So let's talk about press a little bit. We're finding even people who are on the Today Show aren't getting a big hit on their book, which is surprising. But, less and less people are watching television today and they're watching other things. I used to own 2 TV stations. I don't know if she mentioned that, but I was on TV, but then I owned 2 TV stations as well. So the eyeballs are getting less and less and less. I was just thinking, gosh, there was TV shows in the day, like even in the early 80s, 70s, that would get 65 million views, the top show. And now a top TV show is 12 million views. So dramatically different, right? My children never watch live TV, never. So I would say the press kit is something you want to have. I don't think it's hugely important. I would say it's great to send a press release out on the wire because then you feel like you did it. Where I think it's more important is locally, kind of like starting home and working your way out. Or if you have a vacation home or you have a connection somewhere, you grew up somewhere and now you're living somewhere else. I think it's important for wherever you went to school, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, they should all know that you have a book. And if you're a bestseller too, hey, I just want to let you know I'm a bestseller and this is what I'm doing. I did a book for my son and we sent it off to his high school and they put it in the high school newsletter. So, there's thousands of people that get that newsletter, the alumni and the current students and current parents. As much as I want you to think big, then you also have to think small. So think about all those. Maybe you belong to the Rotary. Maybe you belong to a certain group, a women's group, or whatever groups you belong to that you see on a regular basis, even if it's just a friend group, they should be sending it out and asking them to share it. So we do a thing called a book launch team. And I think, April, you teach this, don't you, having a launch team?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So just because when your book launched, you communicated with them and then you probably haven't communicated with them since then about your book. Do you have a regular email campaign that you're talking about the book and what's new? You're creating your book. So you should start having your book launch team already. And you're starting to talk, hey, I'm rolling these ideas around and you're talking to them about the journey of creating the book, right? The authors already have a book. You might be talking to them about the journey of promoting your book and working with the book. But it's a conversation. It's an ongoing conversation with that group and getting ideas from them. Even reach out to them. Hey, I'm looking for different ways to promote my book. Do you have any ideas for me? Do you have any groups you belong to that you think would love my book?
Do you also talk about content strategy?
When you're writing your book?
Content marketing, that kind of, creating pieces of things that maybe your target readers would like in order to do that, like lead magnet and things like that. Is that something that you recommend?
Yeah, that's kind of like the call to action in the front of your book where you're giving something away or doing something special for them. We're launching something really unique we're doing. And most of you probably don't know what an NFT is, but it's a non-fungible token. And it's kind of it's tied with cryptocurrency, but already it's what kids do in video games. But now we're tying it to a book and we're creating a lot of incentive for them to be part of her community. So think about different things that you can give away or specials that you can do if they follow you on social media or if they share the book with a bunch of people. Hey, I'll do a special reading for your school if you agree to share it to X amount, if everyone shares it on their social media. Different things that you might think out of the box that you can do.
How are you using the NFT? Because I know someone who does NFT, which blows my mind. I can't seem to figure out what that is. So I'm glad you just said it that way. But it wouldn't work for children's books though, right? Because NFTs are more like adult stuff.
No. Well, this book that we're doing, and there's a variety of ways to do it. So the author we're working with, she calls it MSU, which is making shit up. because it's so new. So we're figuring it out as we go. And this has been evolving over the last 4 weeks of how the strategy is going to work and what we're going to do with it. So what we've decided at the moment today is what we think we're doing with it. It's filtered out is she is doing an NFT launch. And with the launch, there's going to be 4 tiers and there'll be a graphic with each tier. And there's 1,500 NFTs altogether. So NFTs are really like digital art. Okay. But what people don't understand that comes with it is what's a smart contract that comes on the back end of it that lives on the blockchain. So the smart contract, you can put utility in there. So for her name is Laurel Langmeyer, and hers is Millionaire Maker. She teaches people how to become millionaires by setting up LLCs, having your trust right, having the right tax structure, entities, all that kind of stuff, and wealth building. So she has a lot of intellectual property. She has different courses that she has. She decided she was going to do an event that she was going to add in just for this group. And she has her large, big ticket item that she sells, which is called the Big Table. She's adding that in there. So each tier has different things. So the first tier has digital courses. The second tier has the digital courses plus a ticket to her conference. The third tier has the digital courses plus a ticket to the conference plus something else. And then the fourth tier, which is the biggest tier. So the fourth tier, she has about $60,000, $70,000 worth of value in there. And we're selling it for 10. They get the NFT, which is the graphic image, plus all this IP, intellectual property, and they get a day with her that they're getting, so that it's got this huge value. And you have to buy a certain amount of books to get the NFT and get all the value that's underneath it. So this is kind of a good challenge for me is how would I do an NFT as a children's book? The goal for her is we're going to hit Wall Street Journal USA Today bestseller, and we need to sell 10,000 books. And it's in pre-sale right now. So we have 2 months to sell 10,000 books. So that's how do we come up with that strategy? And it'd be the same for you. Okay, the goal is to sell as many books as possible along with the NFT. So what's the strategy to do that? But it's really coming up with what can you put with the smart contract that's above and beyond books. So you get the NFT, which is the art, which would be some kind of illustration that's not in the book, variation of that. And then what could you offer your clients? So let's say for with her, the top tier, they're going to buy 180 books. She's only going to have 50 of those NFTs at that top level. But if she sells 50, that's 9,000 books right there. So she's like, okay, who do I know that would buy 180 books that want these things underneath there? So it's coming up with things that you say, well, I know my audience would love this. And I'm going to stretch you really beyond. I'm getting way out here, April. I'm sorry. Just bring me back if you need to. No, so then we go on even to, you've got the metaverse, which is 3-dimensional. And my son came up with this idea. Could you imagine with Harry Potter, if you had each character was an NFT variation of the character, and then it took you into their world. Part of the utility was you're going to have this video that creates you into virtual reality that you're walking through the book's world. Right. It's coded into the smart contract, and then it automatically goes to them, and it can't be changed because it's on the blockchain and it's digital. And I will say the virtual part is not quite there yet. That metaverse is not quite there. The NFT's there, the smart contract's there, but it's coming up with unique things as a children's book author, a fiction book author, that you can put in that smart contract that the kids reading your book will be like, oh, mom, I got to do that. Or maybe it's just even a special website that only they get to go in and play in and do a game or something that's exclusive to the NFT holder. Now what's even cooler, we're finding with Laurel, is she'll have 1,500 token holders, and she can make an announcement at any time. Hey, only my token holders are going to get XYZ. It's special. So think of it like, a country club membership or something. Only the members to the country club get to go to the special dinner or to the special concert or whatever it is.
However, NFTs come with a carbon footprint. Are they not expensive to create as well?
No, they're not expensive to create. No more than you're creating a digital image for your book, right? You have that digital image. The cost comes into minting them. So you put them on OpenSea, and it's SEA. That's the eBay for NFTs. you put them there and that's where people can buy them. So there's a thing called gas fees, and that's what it costs to mint them. But right now, gas fees can be pretty high, but there's coming up with some alternative ways to do it within the next 30 days. I think some of that's going to change. And they just came out where before you had to buy it with cryptocurrency. The only way you could buy an NFT was with cryptocurrency, with Ethereum. Now they just came out, you can buy it with your credit card. So, I mean, it's kind of like, think about when the internet first came out. And it was clunky. And if you wanted to try and have a shopping cart on it, it was really clunky and you couldn't really do it. And now it's like lickety split, right? And no one's afraid to put their credit card in there and they just do it. So we're in the kind of clunky phase of this next phase. They're calling it Web 3.0, but it's very the forefront of what's going to happen. I would say go on the internet, look up what's an NFT, because I just want to tell you that whole section of what's going on is the next phase for the internet. And just even the concepts of it and how it's working, because real estate agreements are going to be done this way. Insurance contracts are going to be done this way. Everything's going to start to be done this way, where you would have said before, I would never buy anything on the internet. I wouldn't put my credit card on the internet. Something could happen, right? Your parents probably said that. You might have said that. And now everyone just clicks on Amazon, 2 clicks, and they bought something. So that's how it's going to be with the NFTs too. I would say a more carbon friendly way to do it would be to do it with a credit card, which also uses electricity, by the way. You know, every time you click something, it's going to have a carbon footprint.
Comparatively, what an NFT is, if it hasn't been minted, what is it and what is the value of it then? It's just something you create digitally and put it out there?
So a non-fungible token is a unique digital asset. Your kids, grandkids have been playing with these for years. So they'll play a video game and they say, Grandma or Mom or Dad, I need a $100 gift card from Fortnite so I can buy this weapon or this skin. A skin is like an outfit that they wear in the game. That's a non-fungible token because it's digital. The only thing is it's only used in the game. So they have all these digital things that they have that they buy and they play in the game with, and they're constantly spending money on that and they're making a fortune doing that. So now it's kind of the same thing, except for it's for artists and it's actually being minted and being processed on the blockchain with a unique number and with a unique contract for an NFT. So creating means like if I create a graphic image and I put it on OpenSea, that doesn't really have, as far as I know, a footprint because you haven't sold it yet. You just put it up, and when it's sold, then it gets minted. So you are creating the number for it. You're creating all those things. You're coding it. So someone has to go in and code it, right, on a computer, and then upload it into OpenSea. And then when someone buys it, then it gets minted. And that's when the processing fee happens and it turns into when it gets purchased, as far as my knowledge goes.
If you had just one tip to like kind of inspire us, like self-published authors, best way to compete with like the big guys out there, because that's kind of overwhelming as a self-published author, you know, like just trying to figure this all out ourselves. What would be your most inspiring piece of kind of just like a pep talk for that?
So first of all, I don't want you to feel bad about if you don't work with a traditional publisher. With all the conversations I've had with McGraw-Hill lately, horrible. They're dinosaurs. They do absolutely nothing to promote your book. The meetings we've had with them, they said, no, we're not doing any marketing for you. Her book has been up pre-sale. She hasn't done her campaign yet. And I think in 3 months, she sold 15 books. All right. So don't feel like, oh, I don't have the weight of this big publishing house behind me and, a traditional publishing house, because they don't do anything for you. It's still on your shoulders. And a lot of the authors who are hitting this big success, they have a machine behind them. They have a marketing machine behind them, or they're paying for marketing, or they already have a footprint of social media. So it's okay if you don't have anything. You just have to start somewhere and realize you just can't be in obscurity. So take some of these tips that I use for you. And I would say it's work, right? You can't just put your book up on Amazon or put it up with Ingram Lightning Source and just go, okay, I just thought Amazon was going to do more for me. And I thought Ingram was going to sell my book. That's when the work really begins. So the inspiring part for you is now's the time. You're going to pull up your bootstraps. You're going to make your plan. You're going to make your list of 20 people. You're going to send those books out. You're going to start being active on social media. You're going to start emailing your book launch list again and creating those conversations, and just constantly hit the refresh button. Okay, I did that. Oh, well, it didn't work. Well, then do it again. right? Or double down on it. I just got back from Grant Cardone's 10X conference. So he's saying 10X everything. So whatever you think you're supposed to do to market your book and get out of there, times it by 10, and then you might be about right where you're supposed to be. If you need to leverage somebody, ask someone If you're not good at doing social media posts, then if you have a budget, then spend a little money and have someone do it for you so you don't have to do it. If you don't have a budget, then find a friend, a relative, somebody that can do it, maybe do it as a favor for you to get you started.
Would you like to talk a little bit about the WSI and USA Today program and some of the offerings that you provide and how people can get in touch with if they want to know more information, Melanie?
Sure. So all of our author packages come with, we guarantee a number one bestseller, no matter which package you pick. We also relaunch books. If your book is out there and you just feel like it's not going anywhere, we'll do a campaign for you to propel it to number one. We do social media where we post for you 5 times a week. If you don't have it set up, we set it up for you. If you have it set up, then we optimize it for you. Make sure you're branded as an author. And then the Wall Street Journal USA Today campaign, we guarantee that you'll hit that list as well. And that's a big where we spend a lot of money on advertising and email lists and really do a lot of promotion out there. And then we want to make sure your Amazon author page is tweaked and up to snuff and has all the assets in it. Same with your Goodreads profile. We do audiobook, hardback book, ebook, and paperback. And we really feel like we're one of the most innovative publishing houses out there today. You get to keep all your royalties with us, but we really work for the author. And you can reach us at eliteonlinepublishing.com. There's a submission form there that you can fill out, and then we get in touch with you from there.
Well, thank you so much. We've covered a lot of different ground, and I think there's lots of new terminology and the NFTs and things like that. You have an upcoming summit, and I'm glad to say that I'll be a speaker at that summit. And we have a special guest speaker that's going to be talking more about NFTs, don't we?
Yes, we have Mark Cuban from Shark Tank, owner of the Mavericks basketball team. He is one of the guests that we're interviewing on there. We have Mike Koenigs, who does a lot of things for Tony Robbins, for Grant Cardone, all these big people. He has been the back end for them. My son, Nathan, who launched an NFT that sold out in 5 minutes for $3.2 million, is going to be there speaking about that. I highly recommend, if you enjoyed this conversation, you should definitely go to the summit. It's free. It's a 3-day thing and 27 speakers, and take a lot of notes. If you want, you can get the recordings. I think are $97.
So yeah, it's a great opportunity to get a lot of amazing speakers all around publishing, marketing, this new technology that is up and coming. And when you think of all the digital assets that we have as children's book illustrators, authors, we've got beautiful artwork and other things that I feel like there's an opportunity to repurpose with these NFTs. So that's something that we should all be thinking about looking at for the future and understanding more about. So this summit will allow us to do that. Feel free to follow up with Melanie. And Melanie, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and being here with us. We appreciate it.
Really, really enjoyed it. Keep pushing, keep writing, keep promoting, let people know who you are, and you will get your book right out there.